Welcome in to That Wrestling Show. I am Mike Wendt. Those of you Nesson viewers would know me from Wicked Bites, Saturday mornings, every Saturday morning at 9:30 on Nesson. Liam, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm Liam Stryker of the New Age Insiders.
Branding, I like
Branding,
it.
you know, we
There
got
you
to
go.
have New Age Insiders the t-shirt.
Spaceballs the t-shirt right
Spaceballs
here.
the t-shirt.
I dig it.
Get your New Age Insiders apparel on ProWrestlingTees.com.
What a shill. Nice work, sir. Get those plugs in.
You know, gotta put yourself over.
Today, you have to, though. I mean, who else is? I'm not going to get you over.
Yeah,
I'm,
no,
gonna-
you're not
I'm here
gonna
for
get me
myself, too. But today, we are talking Backlash.
Backlash. In a couple of hours, the SmackDown, the Blue Brands special
Rockin'
event,
the blue.
is going to go live on the WWE Network.
It is.
I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's going to be a good show. It's going to kind of fly under the radar a little bit in terms of the name value of this. Doesn't have the same type of names that like Raw does, but I think it's going to be a solid show from top to bottom. My favorite act is wrestling for the tag team titles.
Yeah, we're gonna get there.
We're gonna get
We're
there.
gonna get there because here's what I feel. SmackDown in general, and I've said this since we started doing the show.
Yep.
SmackDown has been telling better stories as far as build-ups. We talked about it with last month with Payback.
Right.
The Payback build was crap.
Yep.
There was no build really to it, but Payback paid itself off. A lot of paying in this. Paid itself off by having great in-ring psychology.
Right.
SmackDown, I feel, has been doing a better job of building most of the matches. The first one we're going to talk about, I didn't even know was on the card, so
Right.
I kind of just blew myself up here. But in general, not only have they been telling better build-up stories, I feel they've been telling more creative stories.
Yes.
It's not just the, I don't like you. No, they've been getting a bit more into the entertainment area of pro wrestling.
Right, and you know, ultimately, characters and storytelling is what's going to drive people to care more about these wrestlers.
It is a TV show.
It is a TV show at the end of the day, and if you listen to the New Age Insiders at all, my mantra is storytelling, storytelling, storytelling. That's the most important thing. Why do you watch The Walking Dead? Why do you watch, you know, Sons of Anarchy, Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones? It's because the storytelling is so good, and it's true across all mediums. And you know,
Honestly, I watch The Walking Dead for the flips.
yeah, of course you do. Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah, that
Stick around to the end because there's going to be a flippy talk at the end.
zombie headshot died.
Right.
Zombie disembowelment died.
We will get there. But let's jump right into the card because we are only a few hours away from
Yes.
Backlash. Here's the match I didn't know was happening. Luke Harper, Eric Rowan. The Wyatt family explodes.
This doesn't make any sense to me. The Wyatt family is dead. They're absolutely dead.
You say that.
Bray Wyatt isn't even on the show. He's not on the show anymore.
Yeah, but he's everywhere.
Yeah, Luke Harper is out of the Wyatt family.
He's
and
kind of
Eric-
gone like sexy Luke Harper all
Yeah,
of a
he
sudden.
has. He is.
Slicking his hair back, went with
Right.
the black tight tee.
Yeah, he went from like Hell's like mechanic to like Hell's sexy lumberjack.
The demon's janitor to the
Yeah.
demon's boy toy.
Yeah, you know, it's a very weird gimmick shift. But
But I'm okay with it.
I think that Luke Harper has a lot of potential. I think that Eric Rowan and Luke Harper have a lot of potential. I don't see a lot of potential in Eric Rowan, who it looks like he's been fighting the Hell's Clog from Satan's toilet in that jumpsuit. You know, he's like a weird savant, maybe. I don't know, but it just feels really weird. It was like when X-Pac.
Yeah.
He used to still represent D-Generation X when everybody else
Road
moved
Dogg was
on.
kind of the same way too.
Yeah, they all moved on.
Get that merch money, pal.
Yeah, right.
But he is. He's the one that has had the hardest time transitioning from the Wyatt family to his own thing. And I think it hurts them that every time they need somebody to run in for Bray Wyatt, they bring him back. I mean,
Right.
that's how he came back this time.
Right.
He came back from injury, ran in on a Bray Wyatt match, and it's like, oh, well, maybe they're doing the Wyatt family. Nope, they're gone.
Yeah, because Bray Wyatt's
We
not on the
needed you
show
for 2
anymore.
seconds. Done.
Yeah, and so what does Eric Rowan look like when the Wyatt family isn't involved?
I don't know
would
yet.
love for them to figure out how to get them back to a tag team.
I would love that. And maybe
Because-
that's what happens.
Hopefully, because Eric Rowan and Luke Harper were an awesome tag team in NXT, and it's the NXT that you had to find on Hulu. It was a Hulu Plus exclusive.
They're actually backlogging some of them
They are.
into WWE Network there.
Yeah,
They got back to, I think, 2013. I was watching
Right.
What was Fandango? Johnny Curtis and
Yeah.
Michael McGillicuddy in a tag match against the Wyatts.
This
was
is the
fantastic.
Genesis, the beginning.
It was great.
McGillicuddy. If you ever have a chance to watch that Curtis Axel McGillicuddy promo, it's the best.
I will have to.
He just starts going off about how this is like the Genesis, the beginning. This is the start.
Well, don't spoil it, pal.
Yeah, I know. There it is. But yeah, that's
So Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, I'm assuming it's going to start the show.
right.
I would assume so, unless they go with the U.S. title, which we'll get to in a minute.
Well, seeing that the women kind of have developed into not the P-break match anymore before the main event, I could see this being the P-break match, especially because the main event and the top half of this card is
It's pretty
so
stacked.
that you're going to need something like that.
You're going to go get another beer during this one.
Right,
Yeah.
you're going to need to go get another beer in between this one, just because everything else is so
Right.
star-studded.
Sparkly.
Sparkly.
All right, so what do you think the outcome of Luke Harper, Eric Rowan is?
I think that Luke Harper is going to kind of overcome this. I think that just...
This is just his next catalyst to move on to the next
Yeah,
thing.
just move on to the next thing, kind of put the Wyatt thing behind him and move on.
All right. Well, speaking of the women, they have a big 6-woman tag team match, which was so important it needed a contract signing. No titles on the line,
No.
but there was a contract signing.
Yeah. It's weird that they turned Charlotte. It's
Yeah, and they've only kind of half turned her, which I'm sitting here on the edge of my seat every time she comes out. I'm like, please don't play to the crowd. Don't do the natural baby face stuff,
Right.
because she's not.
Right.
She's not. She's fantastic as a heel.
I would just like to see it be like, we like her, and now everybody's supposed to like her.
Yeah.
This tag match is going to be fine. I think all the participants in it are great. I think it's going to be a good show, or a good match. I don't think anything's going to be wrong with it, but I don't expect a ton of wow from this. You know, there's no titles on the line. There's no real payoff at the end of the day because, you know, Charlotte's...
You don't see Charlotte trying to turn on Naomi during the match to kind of continue that story to the next pay-per-view. Was it Money in the Bank for SmackDown?
Yes.
Okay, so Money in the Bank, you're going to need a title match at some point. Naomi's going to have to defend because, you know,
Right.
30 days, pal.
Brock Lesnar doesn't have to listen to that, but Naomi does.
So I feel that they're going to try to do something with that. It can't just be a straight-up 6-woman tag match and James Ellsworth.
Yeah, yes. I think Charlotte's going to kind of stand tall amongst all of the women.
Well, she is a big woman.
She is very tall. But
Eye to eye with myself. I'm 6'3", pal.
Jeez. Jesus. I think having her stand tall amongst all of the women is going to kind of further that storyline as opposed to...
So the queen will rise above the rest.
Yeah, as opposed to just her turning or something like that.
So the welcoming committee, they're like an afterthought. They're just somebody to get them over.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Now, the tag team titles, your favorite act. I can't say enough good things about both teams in this match. Since the Usos turned to whatever you call them, the real Usos, I guess is what it would be.
Yeah.
I have been, because they were kind of floundering as the bootleg Islanders.
Right.
And now they turned into basically what feels like a more realistic character. It feels like a more extension of their own personalities, which, as an Attitude Era kid, that's the type of attitude I like.
Right.
You know what I mean? That it feels more real. When they speak, they feel more comfortable with their promos than they did, you know, back when they were painted up and, you know, doing the slap thing and all that stuff. Weird. Yeah. Anyway, your favorite gimmick.
Yes.
Breezango, the fashion police, which the second that they took off on the Law and Order thing came up, I was like, yeah, man, I'm all in.
Yeah.
All in.
having Breezango, when I first saw Tyler Breeze debut in NXT, that was the first tweet that I sent out was, I don't know what I have to do to get him in a tag team with Fandango.
Because Johnny Curtis had already become Fandango.
Yeah, Johnny Curtis had already become Fandango at that point. I go, that is just a match made in heaven.
Sure.
So sure enough, they end up getting together. They end up pairing them up together, and it's been awesome. And this is also, much like the Usos, having Breezango just given the creative freedom to just do whatever the hell they want.
And you know they're funny guys, too. If you haven't watched Southpaw Regional Wrestling, go watch it. The comedic genius of both of these guys is on display.
Absolutely. They're both so colorful. They're both so charismatic. And WWE, much like in the same vein of the New Day, were just like, yeah, guys, whatever. You know what I mean?
We
Whatever.
have nothing, you go create.
Yeah, whatever. Just go do your own thing. And so they've been doing this fashion police gimmick.
It's been hilarious.
For a long time, giving people like fashion fines or like tacky tickets or something like that. And it's just like, oh my God, they're just so funny. And now we're starting to actually use them. And yeah, they're going to be the tag team champions.
They're going to win.
They're going to win.
I love it.
They're going to win.
I absolutely love it. And I cannot wait to see what they do to the belts.
Yeah.
Because they're not just going to wear the standard belts.
No, they're
going
to do something.
What was the belt that Mike Bennett had when he made it like a pink and fluffy?
It was the Love Championship.
I can absolutely see them.
The Championship of Love.
I can absolutely see them doing something like that, where it's got ruffles and feathers and all kinds of glitter and stuff.
All kinds of nonsense.
Cannot wait for that. Speaking of cannot wait, we finally get the debut of Shinsuke Nakamura in the ring in the main roster type of aspect.
Yeah, this is the first time he's wrestled, right? Yes.
Yeah.
This is the first time
on the main roster.
On the main roster. And he's going against Dolph Ziggler.
Since he became an artist.
Yeah, since he became the artist known as Shinsuke Nakamura.
Right.
He went to recording school. You can't discount that. But having Shinsuke Nakamura wrestle Dolph Ziggler in his first debut match is going to be a great first match for him to introduce the main roster fans to Shinsuke
the casual
Nakamura.
fan.
Right, the casual fan.
The TV watchers.
Right, because, you know, as much as NXT TakeOver, NXT is great, a lot of people don't watch it.
Sure.
You know, they just don't. And this is going to be a good introduction to bring Shinsuke along to the rest of the WWE universe.
And I've said many times before, it's one of those things that if you need a good worker in the ring, and you need somebody to lose, call Dolph Ziggler.
Right. Yep.
He ain't going over.
Yeah. I mean, Shinsuke is going to beat the bejesus out of him.
But the nice thing about finally getting Shinsuke Nakamura onto the SmackDown show, above all else, is eventually he's going to meet up with AJ Styles, who's in the next match.
Yes, and if you haven't seen their match that main evented Wrestle Kingdom, I want to say 12. It's fantastic. They work so well together, and I expect nothing less for when they finally meet.
And I'm guessing they're going to tell a better story than what we've gotten with Dolph Ziggler, just kind of making fun of the fact he can't speak English.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Right. Well, I think that's a classic WWE trope.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, you can't speak English, you're new.
So that's going to be the story.
That's going to be the story.
That's why I hate you this week.
Yeah, I hate you this week because
you're different than me.
You don't say things and then you just go, and Shinsuke Nakamura.
It's a very good impersonation. I wasn't going to try it, but good job on that one.
Thanks.
U.S. title, Kevin Owens, AJ Styles. This could kick off the show if they want to do it. If they want to really wow the crowd and get the crowd really hot off the start, this could kick off the show.
This is my pick for match of the night, I think.
I mean, yeah.
I mean,
it's not. I mean, it doesn't have a House of Horrors match, so obviously.
Obviously. You know, looking at it it was going to be between Nakamura and Dolph Ziggler because I think they were going to be able to tell a very good story.
Sure.
But AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens will be the match of the night. It's going to be the best part of the night because it's the new face of America.
I love it.
Versus the face of SmackDown.
Right.
And it's going to be great. I think they've done a great job. Kevin Owens has done a fantastic job elevating any championship that he's held in WWE. He did a great job with the Intercontinental title way back when, kind of stabilizing that and bringing that back up, giving stability to the Universal title while it was brand new, then also taking the United States Championship and putting it on a show where the WWE Championship is on it, making it feel like something worth fighting for.
It's a big deal. It's a championship. It needs to be.
Right. And so he's done a great job. And the fact that AJ Styles wants it makes it all the better.
I love it. I love the storytelling. Again, they've been telling that great story. Anytime you can put Kevin Owens on commentary over any type of match, that's going to sell the show.
Right.
Right? You don't need long-winded promos. Just give him the microphone.
Right.
Let him go. Don't script it. Just give him the microphone.
Let talented people go out there and be talented.
Right. What am I doing with all this talent? WWE Championship, Randy Orton versus Jinder Mahal, probably the most polarizing match on the card as far as like the internet, all the fans are concerned.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like Randy Orton. A lot of people don't like the spot that Jinder's in. A lot of people don't like the reason he's in that spot. And a lot of people don't like how he got there.
Yep.
I'm going to break it down as I'm going to speak for the casual fan. I feel that if I was watching it with Twitter, the match would have been maybe not ruined, but at least a little bit lesser of a great experience than just watching it at face value. And the reason I bring it up, and the reason I bring up Twitter and Randy Orton and Jinder Mahal, we'll get to Randy's tweet in a minute, but the fact is, they've told, for me, the casual TV viewer, they have built Jinder to be a credible heel in Randy Orton's championship.
Yeah.
Now again, went to a bar with a buddy of mine before a Red Sox game, and pretty much all we talked about was Jinder Mahal, or I should say, he talked about it. I sat there nodding my head, drinking my beer.
Yeah, of course.
The build to Jinder Mahal, people will be like, "Oh well, he lost the Battle Royal at WrestleMania. He got punked out by Gronk twice, which hashtag Mojomania. You can't stop it, baby. And now he's in the title picture. Why?" And I say, well, take a step back. First of all, WrestleMania is the end of the season. They hit the reset button and he switched shows.
Right.
He came over to SmackDown. Won a number 1 contenders match. Then they started building him as a character.
Right.
Because when he came over, I was just as shocked as anybody. Because when he won that match and they said number 1 contender, I'm like, really? And at the time, I didn't know WWE was moving into India and doing a big deal with that thing from a business standpoint, which again, I understand. It's a business. But then when they started building him, they added the Bollywood boys to his stable. He started playing up this chic-like Maharaja, if you will, character. Right. They gave him it's been 6 weeks. It's been a good build. Now, if he came out of the box, if he came out losing the Battle Royal to Mojo and won the WWE Championship 2 nights later,
yes.
Okay, that's a push for business reasons that I can't get behind. Right. But the fact that he's done these sneaky tactics, he's backfought everything. He's had Randy jump by the Bollywood boys, Singh brothers, multiple occasions. He stole the title. He didn't win the thing.
Yeah, he just took it.
Stole it and did his own photo op. I loved it. It's great storytelling. And every time they cut to him and he's got that close up, and he's an ugly son of a bitch, I'll be honest with you. Yeah. He's an ugly dude. He looks like a mean, vicious dude. And I'm not even talking about the fact he jacked himself up.
Right.
He feels, at this point, like a credible threat because of the tactics, because of the 6-week build. So for that sake, and again, this is talking as a TV viewer, they've told me a very good story.
Right. Now, in addition to that, because I agree with every single one of your points, WWE fans are very fickle, right? And we're going to get... Yeah, I know. Wrestling fans in general are fickle. But wrestling fans and WWE fans more specifically have been screaming for new guys with new opportunities. SmackDown has been touted as the show of new opportunities. And this is exactly representative of that. This is a new guy in a new opportunity. In
that conversation at the bar, I think I made the same exact point you're about to make. Continue.
And so having him win the number 1 contendership, I'll admit, I was like, really?
Right.
Jinder Mahal?
Because that came out of nowhere.
That came out of nowhere. But now having watched him, I don't think he's the strongest on the mic. I think he needs a little bit more conviction. And, there are some things you can tweak and work with. But the character that they've presented feels like a credible threat to this championship. And in that, they've done a great job. Now, fans need to kind of get out of their own way and you know what I mean, and get over the fact that it's like
forget what you've already known about Jinder. Right. This is a new Jinder.
Right.
This is even a more new Jinder than he was in the Battle Royal at WrestleMania.
Right.
It's a completely new character.
Right. And you need to get over this. New guys, new opportunities. Then when they give the new guy the new opportunity, it's not the opportunity we wanted this guy to have. You know, so I am looking forward to this match, mostly because I think Jinder Mahal is going to win this.
I think he's going to win.
Through all of the shady tactics, Jinder Mahal will not beat Randy Orton clean.
Oh, no.
But he will beat Randy Orton.
I know, right?
It's going to be...
And that's weird.
Right.
That's a weird thing to say. As much as I just pump this match up, and I love the way they're telling this story.
Yeah.
Saying that Jinder Mahal is going to be your WWE World Heavyweight Undisputed Champion is just weird.
It is weird. It's weird.
And it's a weird world we live in. But again, I'm sure, as we get to a new little segment I like to do in the show called Wrestling Rant. Wrestling Rant. I'm sure the internet's going to have a little bit to say about it, no matter which way the coin flops.
Oh, absolutely.
Or should I say the coin flips?
The coin flips, the coin flops. The coin can both flip and flop.
And I'd like to, in this Wrestling Rant, I'd like to talk about the pros and cons of social media in the world of professional wrestling. Because it is so prevalent now.
Oh, it is. It's something that didn't exist in the heyday of wrestling, both in the 80s and into the Attitude Era, into the 90s, into the early 2000s.
And the nice thing I have, the advantage of being old, is the fact I lived through all those eras.
Right.
I was a Hulkamaniac kid, you know, going to the old Boston Garden. Great story before I get into the internet. We went to the Boston Garden. Me, my brother, and my uncle saw Hulk Hogan. The show is actually on the network. It was one of those Nesson shows.
Okay.
And it was the one where Savage won his first Intercontinental title.
Oh, okay.
We bought our Hulkamania tank tops, pre-ripped. We come home after the show. Me and my brother are wrestling around. And of course, we both got our Hulk shirts on. And what does Hulk do when he gets in the ring? Rips it off. You've never seen two kids, when they're acting like Hulk Hogan, rip their shirts and then immediately regret the decision they made because they just ripped their brand new Hulkamania shirt. End of rant.
That's so funny. That's amazing.
But yes, that's actually on the network. And it's so cool to go back and watch some of those old things. And living through those eras, it's one of those things like, you saw how people, like, okay, let's just move to the Attitude Era. Right. Because there wasn't even the rumblings of spoilers back in the golden era, the 80s. That kind of all started. Spoilers and dirt sheets, if you will, and message boards and all that stuff really kind of kicked into gear in the mid-90s. And then really pushed forward in the Attitude Era when, you know, the old, you know, Eric Bischoff move of telling the taped Raws, telling the results on Nitro.
Right.
I mean, that was really where the fans started to, again, for lack of a better term, smarten up to the business and realize, oh, it's a scripted thing, and it's this, and it's that.
Yeah.
The problem is, and I'm going to contradict myself probably a bunch of times, because I use social media. I love social media. It helps. I mean, geez, this show is on the internet. Hello.
Hi.
But there's definite cons, especially, and it's really different. And what I always tell people, especially when it comes to like spoilers and stuff like that, is I'm dead set against them, first of all.
Right.
Won't read them, won't even look for them. And when they're sent to me, I get pissed.
Yep. The most mad I've ever been is when the rumors started flying on social media that Sting was going to be at Survivor Series. Sting is one of my favorite performers of all time. Mm-hmm. It was a huge moment for him to come into WWE. And for everybody to spoil that Sting was going to be there that night ruined the moment, because we didn't get to live this organic thing that was Sting's WWE debut.
Exactly.
And I hate social media sometimes. I'm going to come out and say it.
Again, we're contradicting ourselves because we use it.
I use it constantly. And
it's part of our daily life.
It is. And I hate it because it's a constant contradiction in and of itself.
Right.
Especially in the sense of wrestling fans, right? You have wrestling fans that want to know every booking detail about how the Randy Orton Jinder Mahal match is going to go down and what the booking comes from for the next 6 to 8 months and what we're going to do with the WWE Championship. But then when a picture in Rome comes up of a bunch of guys at a Coliseum where, you know, Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman are both in that picture, you know, looking like they're a bunch of guys at the Roman Coliseum having a good time.
A bunch of dudes on vacation.
Everybody loses their mind.
You take that picture too.
And everybody loses their mind because that's not how this is supposed to be. That's not this. That's not that. And it's like, you got to pick a lane.
Right.
You got to pick a lane because...
But that's no fun. I can't just change my mind on a whim.
Right, I know. And that's social media. And that's, you know, and that's what's frustrating in the wrestling business, where everybody is entitled to their own opinion.
Of course.
Right? But that's what it is.
Right.
It's an opinion. And wrestling fans, among all of the fandoms, they say that their opinion is gospel.
Of course it is.
And people's careers get shaped and altered because of these gospel opinions that really people don't know what they're talking about 90% of the time.
And the worst part is when they translate to the program on TV. We talked about Charlotte and not wanting her to go from bad guy to good guy.
Right.
A lot of that has to do with the in-arena crowd, which is also part of the internet crowd. And when they're chanting, we want Charlotte, that's a babyface pop. That's not that's not a heel pop. That's gonna shape her. Now she's on the good team.
Right.
She's on the good guys.
Yeah. Roman Reigns
doesn't feel like she should be, but she is.
Roman Reigns' career has been shifted dramatically because of social media.
We could do a whole half hour on Roman Reigns alone.
And I'll sum up the bullet points. The Shield was a thing that was very popular that everybody loved.
Yep.
Everybody pointed to Roman Reigns in the Shield being like, this guy looks awesome. His spear is brutal.
Right.
Everything is awesome. And I was one of those people. And then CM Punk comes out and says, make Roman look strong. And Roman wasn't supposed to be in the Shield. It was supposed to be Chris Hero. And all of a sudden, the internet just killed Roman Reigns. And now look at his reactions. And now look at the way he's treated. And it's like, the social media and the I know better than you sometimes is too much, and we need to find a balance.
Yeah, and a great way to sum it up at how the mentality works is if you want to go see a movie, all right, but first you want to read the entire script.
Right.
And not only read the entire script before go seeing the movie, you want to now tell the writer what to change in the script before you go see it, so that when you see it, all the stuff you want is in there.
Right.
They want to rewrite everything.
Right.
Let's get to the tweet.
Yes.
Let's get to the tweet. Because, like I said, Randy Orton kind of made a bit of a splash on Twitter.
Yes.
First of all, I printed out the tweet.
So it all started with...
exactly. Tell me the origins of it, because this was like the fourth tweet in.
Yes.
He kind of dogpiled onto something else.
Basically, this guy, Rip Rogers...
He's an old wrestler, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He's an old wrestler. He put out a tweet, and the tweet says, every indie match now, handshake, drawn-out move exchange, this is awesome chant. Strike exchange, dive, no sell indie strong style, dive, more strikes, no sells, dive, flippy floppy sequence, dive, hit everyone with every other's finisher, Humpty Dumpty, we all fall down, fight forever chant, rinse and repeat until every move is useless and means nothing. And so that was the original tweet.
Yeah.
Randy retweeted it.
He took a screenshot of his phone. It's 1:39 a.m. and he has 8% battery left.
In Denmark.
It's been a night for Randy Orton.
Yes.
And probably he's been sitting there with his notifications going off at the bar with a bunch of guys, and they're all talking all that smack about, Indy this and Young Bucks that and blah, 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 blah. You guys never. And it's all, and he now, especially because he is the WWE champion, he embodies WWE right now.
Right.
So, and it's such... I've had the privilege of actually talking to Randy Orton. I interviewed him once, and this is so him.
Yeah.
This is everything I love about him. I'm going to read the tweet. Sorry to the indie marks, indie guys, and old-timers who do dives that took offense. Just having a good time over a few drinks in Denmark, closing out SmackDown Live tour, while beating Raw and making over $5 million in the last 11 shows. Now I know to some that doesn't equate standing room only crowds of 150 people paying $8 at an armory somewhere, but in a big boy world that's called putting asses in seats. So enjoy your flips, dives, and 20 super kicks per match. To each their own. I will go dive back into my 13th title run and get ready to flip when my bank statement comes this month. ... Headlock.
Yeah.
And like I said, having had the privilege of talking to Randy Orton, it's very much him.
Right.
He can be kind of an ass sometimes.
Right.
He has that, but it's also what makes him so good at his job. He has that overwhelming, I'm going to say confidence.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say arrogance because I share a lot of the same qualities in our personalities, so I'm going to say confidence.
Okay.
Another person I've talked to that shares a lot of these same confidence is Matt Taven. Okay. Ring of Honor, the Kingdom, former champion all over the world with Mike Bennett. I had a great 45-minute interview with Matt Taven, and actually Ring of Honor is coming to town in June.
Yes.
And we're going to try, spoiler alert, we're going to try to put something together with Matt, get him on the show. It'll be a little fun. Not too many details, but we'll try to do something.
Get it happen.
We all share the same thing, where, like I said about House of Horrors, When I went back and read what Twitter felt about it,
Yeah.
I was just like, you all hate fun.
Right.
Plain and simple. And yes, if I was online during that match, it would have been ruined because I would have been arguing with everybody the whole time. And yes, both of these tweets, the one you read and the one I just read, have a lot of solid points in them because I've been to indie shows.
Yeah.
And that is what they do.
And that's what I brought up on the New Age Insiders podcast when we talked about this. The tweets are right.
They're accurate.
And look, I enjoy a Young Bucks match just as much as everybody else.
Right.
But I equate it to candy. Where it's like you can't live on eating candy.
Right.
You're going to go into a sugar coma and die because it's not sustainable. And it's the same thing with these indie matches where, Shawn Michaels used to put everybody away with a super kick. And now everybody does a super kick. And so it's like, there's no ring psychology. Look at NXT TakeOver.
I was just going to say, before you get into NXT TakeOver, I went to a great Beyond Wrestling show in Providence.
Yep.
Indie promotion. I didn't really learn any storytelling.
No.
But it was fun. It was one of the most fun nights I've had. I laughed my ass off the entire night. It was a great, and not laughing at, laughing with. Everybody was having fun.
Yes.
But nobody told a story.
Right, because
in the matches, you could, okay, that's the bad guy, that's the good guy. But outside of that basic principle,
right.
eh.
Right, so let's take Beyond Wrestling as an example. Beyond Wrestling out of Providence, they do shows in Somerville, Massachusetts as well. They're a great promotion.
A lot of fun.
They are a ton of fun. They put on great shows and they bring in a lot of great guys. Follow them on YouTube at Beyond Demand. That's where all of their content is, right? That being said, there are minimal to no stories that last over a long period of time.
Right.
It's more of like a Fight Club is basically what happens.
And I get the fact that, and most people will try to point to the fact, well, they're not on TV. They can't tell stories. They don't have, long-term contracted wrestlers. And that's all well and good, but you can because of this thing called the internet.
Right.
You can have your own episodic TV show every week with your staple guys, and you can bring in the stars that can interact with your guys.
Right, and with the internet, and I'm going to bring up another local New England promotion, Chaotic Wrestling.
You work with them as well, right?
I work with them as well, and they do tell stories, and they do go show to show, and there is kayfabe that goes. So, it's not necessarily just a unique thing, but throughout all of
But they've
the
also
indies,
gone the next step of integrating into like the Fight Network
Fight
app.
TV,
Yeah, Fight TV.
and stuff like that. But
So they're kind of taking, and before we continue, it's one of those things like, I look at Ring of Honor.
right.
A lot of people would consider Ring of Honor indie. I personally do not.
No.
Because, and here's a great example, going back in the day to like ECW, there was WWE, WCW, ECW.
Right.
I never considered ECW independent because I could find them on my television.
Right.
If you watch Nessun,
Yep.
you can find Ring of Honor on Sunday nights.
Yep.
And the best example I can say is if I pick up my voice-activated Xfinity app
Yep.
and I hit the button and I say Chaotic Wrestling, I will not find it.
Right.
If I say Beyond Wrestling, I will not find it. If I say Ring of Honor, bloop, Nessun pops up.
Right.
Sunday nights, you can find Ring of Honor. So I feel they're in a little different category
Right.
than what we're talking about right here, despite the fact they do a lot of flippy stuff on the show.
Right.
It's a little different because they have long-term people. They tell long-form stories, So
Right, and so a lot of independent stuff, and I think more to what Randy Orton is speaking about, is the fact that for the most part, if you go online and you look up Young Bucks versus X Tag Team, right, and you can insert X Tag Team as to whatever tag team you want, you can pick up that match, not know anything else that's going on, and just watch that match, and that match is just what it is.
Yeah.
There's no repercussions to anything that's happening, and that's mostly what I think Randy Orton's talking about, is that the art of pro wrestling in independent wrestling is gone. In the sense that they're not telling stories and getting people invested.
No.
They're just putting on excellent physical contests, because I'm not saying one is better than the other.
The quality of the wrestling is not what we're talking about
Right.
here. You can, like you said, you can go to any indie show. Like I said, I went to the
Right.
Beyond show. I didn't know anything about anything when I walked in there. All I knew was it was one of Samoa Joe's last matches on the indies, and that was it.
Right.
That was it. So I went, I watched it. I enjoyed it. Lots of great wrestling matches.
Yep.
But, you know, tweeting Randy Orton about why you're not putting on the wrestling matches like the Young Bucks and stuff, it's like apples and oranges because he's putting on a TV show.
Right.
They're putting on wrestling matches, and all they have to do is satisfy you for the next 15 minutes.
Yep.
He's had to satisfy you for 6 weeks as champion.
Yep.
Think about that.
He's got to carry a show that has far more responsibility than putting people in seats, you know, in a 150-seat armory.
Right.
You know, Randy Orton has to sell out, and I don't know what.
He's not wrong about the standing room only. I was at Feet Music. You can only stand there.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's, you know, every promotion has.
But that's kind of a cool gimmick for them.
It is. It is. You get right up on the ring.
I had never seen it before, and I thought it was a really.
It's like a Fight Club.
It really is.
If you are in the area and you have a chance, go check out Beyond Wrestling because it's
a fun night out.
It's a fun night out, and it's just like a Fight Club.
Right.
And you know, I went to one where they had a fans bring the weapons match, and while everybody was standing outside,
those are always
people are
fun.
Carrying different weird things. Somebody brought a gumball machine. Like, it's just nonsense.
Gotta love it.
They came and collected it all, and then they put it all in the ring later. You know, so it's like, it's nuts. It's a ton of fun. And, you know, it's not saying that these are not, like, the independents are useless.
No, absolutely not.
But they're responsible for filling that venue on that day, whereas Randy Orton has to fill a much larger venue in Chicago tonight, and then also, and I'm not sure if they're back at the arena in Chicago on
Probably
Tuesday,
tomorrow night or Tuesday.
on Tuesday,
Yeah.
but he's got to fill that arena again on Tuesday.
Right.
You know, so I think it's tough when the internet unfairly tells WWE that they aren't allowed. They don't put on great wrestling matches.
And another funny point is they always feel, I love the one where it's like this, okay, we had a comment on the last month when we did Payback and we were live on Nesson's Facebook. Somebody made a comment that said 205 Live should be its own show. The next person commented underneath them, it is their own show.
Right.
The next person commented underneath, no, I mean it shouldn't be a part of WWE because WWE is evil.
Yeah.
It wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the big evil company of WWE. Yeah. They literally created the show you love, but that's the type of mind F that I can't get my head around. You know what I mean?
To quote The Usual Suspects, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was making you believe he doesn't exist.
Right.
Because WWE has done that. They've created the ultimate indie promotion.
And NXT.
It's called NXT.
It's called NXT.
It's called NXT. And so,
then you get the ones that are like, well, so and so people on NXT, they should be on SmackDown. They should be on Raw. It's like, yeah, but then the show you love isn't the show you love anymore, and the people you love are now on the show you hate, and you talk smack about the entire #talking smack the whole time.
Right. And that goes back to
Pick a lane.
Pick a lane.
That's what this.
Ultimately,
forget Wrestling Rant. We're going to change the name to Pick a Lane.
Pick a lane. Pick a lane, because that's ultimately what it is.
It really is.
You know, because I get so many people. People tweet at me at Liam NAI or at our main show account at New Age Insiders, and they complain every single time a WWE event goes off the air about, I'm going to cancel the network.
Are you?
I'm going to cancel the network. Why? Why are you going to cancel the network? Wow, well, because Dolph Ziggler didn't beat Shinsuke Nakamura. And
it's the most justifiable $9.99 I can spend every month.
But it's like, it's that type of nonsense where it's like, you know, guys, just understand that it's a TV show, not a sporting event. Right? It's Cirque du Soleil with muscles. That is what WWE is. And if you treat it as a sporting event, like baseball or basketball or football or hockey or soccer. But
again, you say that, but again, WWE has conditioned that audience with stuff like the UK tournament, the upcoming women's tournament in the summer. So they have kind of blurred those lines. And me personally, I'm not a fan of the tournament things because I watch it for the TV show and the storytelling. I don't need a 3-month tournament to decide a champion that doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? If it was for the European title, that's a different story. It's got lineage. It's Shane McMahon.
Yeah, of course. But again, this is WWE giving you what you want at the highest level they can give it to you.
So I think the main bullet point before we wrap this up is wrestling fans are the epitome of biting the hand that feeds them.
They are the best and the worst fans on the planet.
Yeah, because they don't go away when they hate something.
Right.
We as wrestling fans are the prime example of hate watchers.
Right. It's exactly like being a Boston sports fan.
I just want to say I've done a bunch of air quotes today.
Yeah. Hashtag air quotes.
Hashtag air quotes.
It's just like being a Boston sports fan.
It really is.
Where everybody in this region understands how,
especially if you're of a certain age.
Right. You can watch the Bruins and hate everything that the Bruins do. Absolutely everything that the Bruins do from an organizational standpoint,
right.
But watch every game.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's the same. It's
absolutely.
the same thing. It's the exact same thing.
Absolutely. So I guess to sum it up, looking forward to Backlash.
Yep.
Because it is a very stacked card, with the exception of one match that I didn't even know about, which I'm still looking forward to because it's two big hosses banging into each other.
Right.
So I feel it's going to be ultimately a very good show, despite what the internet tells me.
Yeah.
Looking forward, next month, June 4th, next month, 2 weeks from now, June 4th,
yeah, we're officially back into that cycle. We're officially back into the cycle of every 2 weeks we're probably going to get a special event, because 2 weeks after June 4th,
get your coffee.
Yeah. 2 weeks after Extreme Rules, we're going to have Money in the Bank.
Awesome.
And so I think Extreme Rules is the next one to look forward to. That's a Raw branded show.
That's when we get Brock back, right?
No, we get Brock and Great Balls of Fire.
Even better. When the hell is that show? Because we were promoting that show last month.
Yeah, that's in July, I think.
Oh, wow.
So
it is going to be a busy summer.
Yeah. Extreme Rules.
Okay.
They've already established the main event. It's going to be an Extreme Rules fatal 5-way.
Awesome.
For the right to face Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
And so it's Bray Wyatt, Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, and off the top of my head, I can't remember who the fifth person is. But that's a Raw show.
Mystery opponent.
Mystery opponent.
Hashtag mystery opponent.
I know it's not Braun Strowman because he is out. But
yeah, he's out.
He is out. Dean Ambrose.
There you go, Dean Ambrose. Who is the Intercontinental Champion still?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. See, I do pay attention. All right, now, ultimately, let's say, because we've done it 2 months in a row now, we've done 2 pay-per-views in a row, we've picked the weirdest finish to the weirdest match. What is going to be the standout? What is going to be Backlash's version of Mojo Mania?
It's probably going to come from the Breezango Usos match.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get some sort of weird glitter spot that gets them over on the Usos.
See, I'm with you on the match, and I'm calling it's going to be that belt.
Yeah.
Like that's going to be my bold prediction, that they completely
redesign the
basically
belt.
Bring back the Divas butterfly belt.
More or less. More or less.
Well, thank you all for tuning in. It's been a wonderful show again. That Wrestling Show. I am Mike Wendt.
I am Liam Strager.
And we will see you next time.